In 2018, at just 19 years old, Myth would become the second most followed streamer on Twitch. In 10 months, he went from a small streamer averaging 50 viewers to becoming one of the biggest creators in the world, with a new average of 37,000 live viewers. Myth was an early adopter of Fortnite Battle Royale and had become regarded as the best player in the world alongside Ninja.
Do we have any Myth fans in the house?
He would rapidly gain millions of followers across his various social media platforms and was averaging over 1 million views per video on his YouTube channel. But 5 years later, in 2023, things have changed a lot. Myth has been consistently losing subscribers for 2 years, rapidly losing followers on Twitch, Instagram and Twitter, and can often be seen streaming to under 100 people, a number perhaps hard to fathom considering where he once was. So what happened? How did Myth go from the second biggest streamer in the world to this? Well, let me explain by taking you back to the start, where it all began. Myth's online presence can be traced back to November 2013, when he would create his current YouTube channel at the age of 14. As with most gaming creators at the time, he would begin by posting low-quality Minecraft and Call of Duty videos. However, his content would see huge improvements over the next few years, and by 2016, Myth had began streaming on Twitch and uploading the highlights to his YouTube channel. Around this period, streaming was far less normalized, and was a laughable career option in the eyes of the mainstream. But despite this, Myth had set his sights on becoming a successful streamer and was putting in a serious amount of time and effort at an incredible consistency, streaming almost every single day, often for over 5 hours straight, all while still attending high school and working at a coffee shop. But Myth's hard work would pay off quickly, and by November 2016, he was streaming to an average audience of 50 live viewers. During this period, Myth's streams were focused almost entirely around one game, Paragon. Despite there being a vast plethora of games with far higher viewership potential on YouTube and Twitch, Myth would continue to dedicate himself to Paragon, and for the next 10 months, would essentially play nothing but this game on his streams. However, his loyalty to Paragon would prove to reap little rewards in terms of growth, as by mid-2017, Myth was still averaging around the same viewers as the year before. Things were starting to look less optimistic for the young streamer. That was until September 2017, when Myth would make a decision that would change his life forever, when he would finally take a chance on a game other than Paragon and turned his attention to a new release slowly gaining traction in the gaming community: Fortnite Battle Royale. Fortnite was somewhat similar to that of PUBG and H1Z1, two Battle Royale games that were extremely popular and topping the charts on Twitch at the time. However, Fortnite gave a fresh take on the genre, moving away from what could be considered a mature art style and gameplay to a more wholesome aesthetic with bright colors, high saturation, cartoon-styled character models, and dancing. Initially after Fortnite's release, many gamers and streamers were quick to write the game off, seeing it as a goofy PUBG knockoff made for kids, and with the game being free to play, it cast doubt on the quality of the product. After all, in 2017, it was extremely rare for a free game to have any long-term substance or success. But whilst the vast majority of streamers and players were sleeping on Fortnite, Myth was there on day one of release and streaming the game to his audience. And after his first Fortnite stream on 12th of September 2017, he would continue to play and stream Fortnite for many, many hours every single day. And let's just say being an early adopter and believer in the game would prove to be a stroke of genius. Myth was putting in far more hours than 99.9% of players, consistently streaming over 8 hours every day, and would quickly become one of the highest skilled players on Fortnite. Whilst it would take most players weeks, if not months, to get just one single win on the game, after only 5 days of playing, Myth had won an absurd 22 games. A feat so impressive that even the official Fortnite Twitter page took notice and would shout out his Twitch stream. For context, getting a win on Fortnite was no easy task, with 100 players competing in each game to become the last man standing, in a world where one single shotgun bullet or sniper shot can defeat you. There was a lot of room for failure. A win on the game was in fact so special at the time that players would post pictures to their social media accounts, flexing the now iconic Victory Royale screen. Getting just one win was an achievement, but Myth was making it look like a walk in the park. And only one day after his shoutout from Fortnite, Myth had increased his win count by 8, reaching 30 victory royales. The same day, Myth would begin uploading highlights of his gameplay to YouTube, including a video of him dropping 20 kills in one single game. This level of skill was incomprehensible. Most players would be lucky to get one kill. Meanwhile, Myth was taking out an entire fifth of the lobby himself. It was beginning to look like Myth could actually be the best Fortnite player in the world. However, at this time, Fortnite was still yet to gain considerable traction and popularity, which was reflected in Myth's streaming stats, as despite his elite level of gameplay, his stream would see a fairly little amount of growth after his transition away from Paragon, and he was still averaging around 50 to 75 concurrent viewers per stream. That was until November, when with a stroke of luck and random chance, Myth would end up in the same Fortnite game as one of the biggest streamers on Twitch, Summit1G. With no idea he was coming up against one of the biggest streamers in the world, who was streaming live to over 15,000 people, Myth would aggressively approach, outbuild, and outplay Summit. This was not normal, and people were taking notice. Soon after the game, Myth would upload a clip of him outplaying Summit to YouTube, and it would quickly become his most viewed video yet. Viewers were in awe at Myth's ability, especially that of his building skill. And with him topping the leaderboards as the player with the most solo PC wins, Myth was certainly making a name for himself amongst the small Fortnite community. And following the video where he would destroy Summit, Myth would upload a series of building tutorials, which would perform far greater than the rest of his YouTube content. There was no doubt in the community that Myth was the best builder in the game, and considering that Fortnite's unique selling point was building, it was a huge title to hold. All of this led to a considerable rise in viewership on Myth's Twitch channel, and for the month of November 2017, he would average 179 concurrent viewers per stream, double that of the last month. The following month of December was when Fortnite really started to pick up pace in terms of popularity, and thanks to Myth's prolonged commitment to the game, his stream would begin to blow up. December 1st, 142 live average viewers. December 2nd, 332 viewers. Myth had doubled his average viewers in just one day, but things would get even better, when once again, Myth would find himself in a Fortnite lobby with Summit. And when the two players would eventually encounter one another, they would have a 1v1 battle that would go down in Fortnite history. Summit would notice a base at the top of a hill. Little did he know Myth was the one waiting inside. Summit then decides to aggressively build upwards towards the base, ready to engage. But instead of Myth sitting idly like the majority of players would, he starts building at incredible speed.
What the f? See, he keeps building higher. Stop building so high! Stop it! Is this guy a... What? What's happening? What just happened? He built the... He kept building up and building up and building up, and I couldn't catch him. 1400! How did that man shotgun me down beneath like that? Did you see that?
Good fight, Summit! I like that!
I've never seen that strategy used. I've never seen that strategy. You could tell he's a good player. I've never seen that strategy used where when someone's trying to get into your base, you just keep building up, keep building up, keep building up. That was impressive, not gonna lie.
For the second time, Myth had completely outplayed one of the biggest streamers in the world. This kind of building gameplay was not normal, and of all the thousands of viewers in Summit's stream who witnessed the fight, the same question was likely going through their minds. Who is this Myth guy, and how is he so good at the game? And it was no coincidence that soon after this moment, Myth's stream would begin to grow even faster. December 16th, 570 viewers. December 24th, 1,000 viewers. December 26th, 2,000 viewers. December 28th, 3,000 live average viewers. Myth had multiplied his viewers over 20x in the space of 1 month, and whilst many streamers would slow down on streaming over the holidays, he was grinding an average of 10 hours every day. And it was working. As Myth's Twitch was skyrocketing to huge heights, more fuel would be added to the fire when a random viewer would post a clip from Myth's stream that would take the internet by storm. The video was titled "Insane Build Fight, I'm the Myth," and would quickly go viral, gaining over 1 million views. In the clip, Myth could be seen in an intense build battle against another player, a fight that he would go on to win, and whilst in hindsight this gameplay may look underwhelming to the average Fortnite player in 2023, at the time, this kind of building was exceptional and was incomprehensible to the average player who had started playing the game over the holidays. Ending the month with 34,000 followers gained on Twitch and 21,000 more subscribers on YouTube, Myth's rise to fame was in fact only just getting started. And on the 10th of January 2018, he would sign a professional contract with the esports organization TSM, bringing a new level of respect to his name and of course more eyes to his stream. On January 15th, he would post one of his most viral videos yet, where he would get 27 kills in one game, which would quickly amass over 2 million views. And it was no coincidence that in the week following this upload, Myth's average concurrent viewers on Twitch would rise from around 3,000 to 7,000. The growth was starting to get even faster, and by this point Myth was gaining around 10,000 followers per day on Twitch. In the space of a few months, he'd gone from being completely unknown and making presumably very little money from streaming, to becoming one of the most viewed streamers on the site, and undoubtedly making thousands of dollars per day from his stream, YouTube channel, and brand deals. Alongside this, Myth would reach 1,000 wins on Fortnite, and every one of his YouTube videos were consistently getting hundreds of thousands of views. But it got even better. In February 2018, TSM would announce their official competitive Fortnite team, a squad consisting of Myth and 3 other upcoming pro players, Daequan, Camille's, and Hamlin's. They quickly became the most lethal squad in the game and would destroy every lobby they played in. And let's just say, the viewers loved it. Fortnite was now beginning to transcend the gaming community, and the rapid growth of the game was starting to gain considerable mainstream media attention. At the forefront of this hysteria was the streamer Ninja, who was also seeing an unprecedented level of growth alongside the Fortnite boom, rapidly becoming by far the most subscribed streamer on Twitch, and the face of Fortnite. People would often debate who the best player in the world was, and more often than not, the debate was between 2 players, Myth or Ninja. With that being said, the 2 of them saw an opportunity for more viral content and would collaborate at the end of February, playing duos together. It was a magnificent spectacle for the community, and following the stream, Myth would upload one of their games to his YouTube channel, becoming his most viewed video ever, quickly reaching over 5 million views. Myth's growth was getting outrageous at this point, and by the end of February, he was the 3rd most subbed streamer on Twitch, and doubled his average concurrent view count from the previous month to 11,000 average viewers, all whilst gaining 400,000 new followers. But it didn't stop there. Myth would take note of the success from his collaboration with Ninja, and a couple weeks later, would begin playing duos with one of the most popular streamers in the world, Pokimane. This collab would prove to bring even more attention to Myth's streams, with multiple viral, fan-made videos uploaded to YouTube, 4.7 million. 5.9 million, 11 million views. However, Myth didn't solely rely on collaborations to continue his growth and was still focused on his gameplay, proven by another viral video posted to his YouTube showcasing a 39 kill solo versus squad match. For the month of March 2018, Myth would once again double his Twitch viewers, consistently pulling over 20,000 average viewers per stream. On top of this, he would gain a jaw-dropping 800,000 followers, in the process of which he would break over 1 million overall followers on his Twitch channel.
Yeah, we hit 1 million Twitch followers. I told myself I wouldn't cry, dude.
Myth seemed unstoppable at this point. In the space of only 4 months, he had gone from being relatively unknown on Twitch and YouTube to becoming one of the biggest and fastest growing creators of all time. Things just seemed to get better and better for Myth at this point. But that was until April 2018 came around, when Myth was invited to a Fortnite tournament hosted by Ninja at the esports arena in Las Vegas. And with huge amounts of pressure and expectation on his shoulders to perform against other players, this event would prove to be the first pitfall in Myth's career thus far.
I can see it right now. He's already coming up with an excuse. How do I tell everyone that I fell off the map? Like, what do I do? How do I let everyone know that I didn't get that many kills and I fell off?
Whilst Myth had been growing at an unprecedented speed, Ninja was a different animal, and having recently smashed the record for the most subscribed streamer of all time, Who better to host the first ever in-person Fortnite tournament than him? Ninja and Myth were essentially the two biggest names on Twitch and in Fortnite at this point, and with them both being seen as the two best players in the game, viewers were dying for the opportunity to see the two officially face off against each other in a game of Fortnite. With Fortnite fans seeing this as an opportunity to finally settle the debate amongst the community as to which of the two players was the best in the world. Naturally, this created a huge anticipation, and viewers were edged on their seat, expecting Ninja and Myth to partake in gun battles and build fights of magnitudes that had never been seen before. The event came around and the stage was set, and it wasn't long before 680,000 live viewers came flooding over to Ninja's livestream of the event, thus breaking the record for the most concurrent viewers of all time on Twitch. All eyes were on Myth and Ninja.
Myth, a very, very popular player, crazy big on Twitch. These two going against each other, is there anything else you can think of in Fortnite that might make you a little...
This is the absolute biggest thing.
You guys, bessads Ninja, I think tonight the one guy everybody's been waiting to see play is TSM Myth over here. Can I hear it in the house? How many of you guys are here waiting for Myth to do some domination tonight? How are you feeling coming into this final heat trying to destroy Ninja?
I feel really, really confident in my ability to do that task.
Out of these next 3 games, how many do you think you're going to win?
Minimum 2. Like, I want to win minimum 2 games and go for the 2-fer. But I think I could definitely get 1.
With expectations of Myth already extremely high, and comments of confidence during his pre-game interview, everyone was expecting to see incredible gameplay from the star player. But unfortunately, the event would prove to be a complete disaster for Myth, and painfully anticlimactic for the audience, as Myth would put on an extremely disappointing performance, dying very early on in 2 games, and awkwardly falling to his death during a build battle in another.
Now, I don't know if you know, but Myth fell off the side of a mountain.
Yeah, he fell and died.
Hope he's got good health insurance, man. Pay for those broken ankles, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can see it right now. He's already coming up with an excuse. How do I tell everyone that I fell off the map? Like, what do I do? How do I let everyone know that I didn't get that many kills and I fell off?
Myth, let's talk about what happened in this game.
I was going to play the high ground early, and then... Yeah, so we got into a little skirmish, and then off the side of the hill, I encountered one of the rarest bugs in the game, which is when you make an edit or build something, it'll just fling you off. And so that happened, and it was really unfortunate.
Despite the anticlimactic nature of the Las Vegas tournament, one poor performance wasn't going to be enough for Myth to completely lose his status in the community. In fact, he continued to grow at speed, and in the month of April would average 35,000 viewers, whilst gaining 700,000 followers, topping it all off by averaging 1 million views per upload on his YouTube channel. In May of 2018, Myth would move into the new TSM house. He was now under the same roof as his fellow Fortnite teammates, Hamlins and Daquan, and it would seem the failures of Las Vegas had been quickly forgotten, with Myth ending the month of May with his new personal best of 37,000 average concurrent viewers, a feat only ever achieved by an extremely small number of streamers. But as is often the case with creators, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And this month would prove to be the peak of Myth's streaming career in terms of viewership. And in the months following, cracks would slowly begin to show. Following his lackluster performance at Las Vegas and the continuing emergence of new star players, people in the Fortnite community were beginning to ask questions in regards to the skill of Myth. Was he really as good as everyone thought? Fortnite was no longer an underground game, and most players had spent at least a couple months playing at this point. Thus, the skill gap was beginning to close fast. Whilst a few months prior, the average player base had no comprehension of how to build and struggled to even get a single win, players were now beginning to catch up to the skill and knowledge held by the early adopters of the game, such as Myth. Long gone were the days where Myth would consistently run into players who had considerably less knowledge of the game than himself that he could easily outplay, and people were taking notice. A post was made on the 3rd of June 2018 titled, "Is TSM Myth the most overrated player on Fortnite?" With one Redditor commenting, "He was the first to master building super quickly and was the best builder in the game for a while until everyone caught up. People just remember when he used to be amazing." But it wasn't just this post. Just a week later, another viewer of Myths would write, "Is TSM Myth really good enough for a pro team? The 17% win percentage and a 4.72 KD this season is just not good enough for competitive play, but he is somehow the team leader for one of the biggest teams within Fortnite?" Whilst the 17% win rate and 4.72 KD was far greater than what the vast majority of players could hold, it was nowhere near good enough for someone to be labelled as the best in the world. But how could Myth's skill level fall so drastically, so quickly? Well, as proven by Myth and Ninja, being the best Fortnite players in the world came with unfathomable riches. Thus, the competition when competing at the highest level got more and more competitive. And of course, with an ever-growing player base, it was only natural more competition was going to arise. For the first time, viewers' eyes were straying from Ninja and Myth and onto other emerging new players, who were starting to show talent arguably far greater than Myth and Ninja ever displayed. While Myth had the occasional comedic moments in his content and a likable personality, there was no denying that the main reason people came to watch his stream was because of his gameplay. People wanted to see the best Fortnite player in the world. And whilst this demand was fruitful when Myth was regarded as the best in the game, there was always the risk that if he were to fall down the ranks, his viewership would be in huge trouble. Other players were playing better than him, getting more kills, building faster, winning more games. Myth could no longer provide the best gameplay available for viewers to consume, so naturally, his audience would slowly lose interest. Myth's build battles from just a few months prior that were jaw-dropping were no longer even remotely impressive. And with the addition of turbo building to the game, an update which gave controller players far greater capabilities when building, more and more players were able to build at a level that had previously made Myth go viral. Myth was slowly beginning to lose his status amongst the Fortnite competitive community, and for the first time since bursting onto the scene in late 2018, Myth would see a decrease in his average viewers on Twitch, averaging 29,000 concurrent viewers and gaining 518,000 new followers. The fact that these numbers could be considered a down month just goes to show how astronomical Myth's success was. But as Myth's viewers were slowly decreasing, there was another player whose followers and viewers were shooting up at intense speed. Tfue. Whilst previously the debate was always whether Myth or Ninja was the best player in the world, Myth wasn't performing at a high enough level anymore and was no longer in the conversation for the best player in the world. Thus, Tfue would replace him as the new rival to Ninja. Seeing this shift in attention, on July 3rd, Myth would take advantage of what could be considered a negative and collaborate with Tfue, a collaboration that would go on to be his biggest video of all time. The video consisted of the two battling in a new game mode released on Fortnite called Playground Mode, a mode that would turn out to be one of the most impactful updates that would ever grace the game. The mode allowed players to create their own private lobbies, where they could play with unlimited building resources. Prior to this update, if a player wanted to practice their building, they would have to spend huge amounts of time in an actual public game farming materials, and they were always at the risk of being killed. Now all of a sudden, players could spam builds for hours on end. This feature would see a dramatic increase in the skill level of the most dedicated players to the game, which naturally created more and more competition for Myth and the wider player base. However, Myth was still a force to be reckoned with, proven by a video released to his YouTube channel on July 29th that amassed 7 million views. Along with this, Myth had managed to slow the decline of his Twitch channel, with him averaging around the same concurrent viewers as the month prior, and would actually have an increase in followers gained, adding another 580,000 to his Twitch follower count. And with this large addition of new followers, a week later, Myth would become the second most followed streamer on Twitch of all time. And in this month of August, for the first time in a while, Myth would begin to take interest in other games than Fortnite, and would stream and upload content of him playing Rainbow Six Siege to his YouTube and Twitch. This was definitely a gamble, considering Myth's audience had almost entirely come from his Fortnite streams. However, the video would perform well on his YouTube channel, amassing over 1 million views. Perhaps Myth saw the writing on the wall in terms of the longevity of his Fortnite career. Considering the increase in competition, maybe his new growth strategy would be to become a variety streamer. But it's hard to tell considering the video was in fact sponsored. Perhaps Myth was just securing the bag for a couple of days before returning to Fortnite. But it didn't seem like a one-off, as once again, Myth would show his intent to play games other than Fortnite and would stream and upload content on Battlefield 5. However, this was also sponsored. Interestingly, the Battlefield 5 content would not be as well received as his Rainbow Six gameplay, with a video posted to his YouTube getting just 240,000 views, which was a large decrease in viewership compared to his Fortnite content. And on Twitch, it was much worse, as his Battlefield stream would only get a max viewer count of 6,000, which was a huge drop compared to his Fortnite streams. Whilst expected, it wasn't exactly a good sign if Myth had long-term aspirations of playing other games on stream than Fortnite. With that said, Myth would end the month of August once again in decline, and whilst the month prior he managed to maintain his 28,000 average concurrent viewers, in August, that number would fall to 19,000. If this were a normal situation, that would of course be a super impressive number. However, in the context of Myth, he had managed to lose practically 50% of his Twitch average audience in just 3 months. And all of a sudden, the graph of his growth was stooping down menacingly. But it got worse, as just 1 month later, in September 2018, Myth's average viewers had been cut in half once again, from 19,000 average viewers to 10,000, and people were taking notice. And on the 20th of September, a somewhat infamous creator known as Exility would post a video to his channel titled "The Mistake That Cost Myth His Career." In the video, he would discuss the sharp decline in Myth's viewership and followers, citing the failures of the Las Vegas event, the emergence of new players such as Tfue, and Myth playing games other than Fortnite, all as to reasons as why he thinks Myth is on the decline.
If you would have told me that Myth would start streaming games other than Fortnite anytime soon, I probably never would have believed you. But I think in the long run, making sponsored videos and doing sponsored streams for games that aren't Fortnite could hurt him. If you're known for something, whether it's a game or a style of video, and then you totally change it up, not as many people are going to be drawn in. So taking his social media presence down the path of variety gaming could be very dangerous for him.
All of a sudden, Myth's declining statistics were brought to the forefront of people's minds, as this video would go on to gain an extreme amount of attention with over 8 million views, and viewers began to leave their own opinions in the comments. It's simple, his career was based on Fortnite. Myth's career didn't stick the landing. Around this time, Myth decided to try a new style of content on his YouTube channel and would release his first vlog. And it was a hit, with 6 million views vastly eclipsing his other gaming content at the time, a trend that would continue for his following vlog releases that month. This was a huge win for Myth. It's not uncommon for content creators to be carried by the games that they play, but Myth was showing that his audience were actually more interested in him and his personality than that of his Fortnite gameplay, which would have been a huge relief, I'm sure, considering his recent decline on Twitch. However, despite Myth's YouTube channel picking up once again, the same couldn't be said for his stream. Perhaps taking note of Exility's criticism, Myth had gone back to streaming almost entirely Fortnite, and only occasionally would play other games on stream. However, it wasn't exactly working out well, as despite devoting himself to Fortnite, Myth's viewers would start to fall sharply once again, and by mid-2019, he was now averaging under 5,000 viewers per stream. Whilst this would still make Myth one of the biggest streamers on the platform, and most streamers would be ecstatic with this kind of audience, I doubt Myth was particularly happy with these numbers, considering that it had been just 1 year since his peak in May 2018, and he'd managed to lose almost 90% of his audience. Things were changing in all aspects of Myth's life, and around this time, he would find himself moving into a brand new TSM Fortnite house. And whilst you would expect this to be a positive change, allowing Myth to freshen up his content, there was a big problem. His iconic teammates and fan favourites, Daequan and Hamlins, were nowhere to be seen. It would seem the good old days were over, and whilst Myth was still playing Fortnite regularly on stream, if there was any doubt left he wasn't an elite player anymore, it was completely gone. Proven when Myth would have a 1v1 battle with an emerging 14-year-old pro player, Clix, and let's just say Myth got absolutely destroyed. But despite Myth's obvious decline in skill, he managed to maintain his 5,000 average viewers on Twitch, and was still gaining tens of thousands of followers per month. People probably weren't watching him anymore for his gameplay ability. It was obvious he was no longer the best in the game, so boasting those kind of numbers from personality is massively impressive. Whilst maintaining his audience was good news, Myth hadn't seen any considerable upwards growth to his Twitch audience since bursting onto the scene in 2018, and with Fortnite only getting less fresh and less popular, maybe playing just that on stream wasn't such a good idea anymore. And with that said, Myth would start mixing in other games alongside Fortnite on his streams, and it was working, as Myth would finally see positive growth to his Twitch, ending the year of 2019 with an average of 8,000 viewers. Despite the growth, it still seemed unlikely that Myth could ever get back to the level of viewership and status that he once held during his peak. But that was until April 2020, where Myth would take a huge risk, and for the entire month would barely play Fortnite, streaming the game just 5 times for the entire month, instead focusing himself on a new game, Valorant. And Myth pushing Fortnite aside for Valorant would prove to pay off nicely, and his viewers would rapidly rise 5x from the previous month, seeing him average 32,000 live concurrent viewers in April, alongside gaining 600,000 new followers. It would seem Myth didn't need to stick to just Fortnite after all. It had been almost 2 years since he held this kind of viewership, and with Fortnite declining in popularity, maybe Valorant was the new goldmine. But unfortunately, the following month would see Myth's average viewers fall back down to 9,000, similar to his previous average from months past. However, there were huge positives to be taken from this. Myth had barely played Fortnite since the release of Valorant's beta, and interestingly, even after the initial burst of hype of Valorant's release, he was still averaging the same, if not more viewers than he was getting a couple months prior when he was mainly streaming Fortnite. Around this time, Myth would release a video titled "The Current State of Fortnite," hinting at how disappointed he had become with the game as of recent. And for the next 3 months, Myth would continue predominantly playing Valorant and rarely streaming Fortnite. Maybe Myth didn't need Fortnite anymore, and his statistics were backing that statement. On the 22nd of July, he would stream Fortnite, 9,000 max viewers. The next day he would stream Valorant, 23,000 max viewers. Myth no longer enjoyed the game, and he didn't need to force himself to play it to maintain the success of his career. And for the next half a year, his viewers were holding strong without it. Myth would play a variety of games, and instead of falling off, he actually would start growing. Jumping on the trend of Fall Guys, Among Us, and eventually Rust would prove to be a great choice for Myth, and he would consistently see upwards growth until January 2021, when he would average 21,000 live viewers for the month, with a handful of particularly successful Rust streams. 8th of January, 71,000 max viewers. 9th of January, 74,000. Myth had now reached absurdly high levels of viewership on 3 different games, in 3 different years. This is not normal. Myth was living the dream. He could play seemingly whatever game he pleased, while still being one of the biggest streamers in the world, and was now blowing up again. Maybe Exility was wrong after all. Maybe Myth did make the right choice to pursue variety content. In fact, it seems Myth's choice to play other games on stream than Fortnite was actually beneficial to him, not detrimental. Myth had proven the doubters wrong, but things can change fast in this industry, and the following month would see Myth's average viewers rapidly fall from 21,000 to 6,000. And whilst in the past, Myth would bounce back from moments like this, unfortunately, this time would prove to be the beginning of a consistent decline in viewership that would continue from here onwards. Around this time, Myth would start to see his subscriber count on YouTube begin to rapidly fall, losing over 10,000 subscribers in most months. The same would happen with his Twitter, also bleeding thousands of followers. And on Instagram, he had lost around 50,000 followers every single month of 2021 so far. His YouTube content had become more and more varied, and he was now struggling to reach 20,000 views on videos. Even the fan favorite vlogs, which used to frequently attract millions of viewers, seemed to have lost their audience. But did Myth actually care? Maybe not. He clearly enjoyed being a variety creator, and of course, with masses of wealth, he didn't need to be concerned by the numbers. And ultimately, Myth was a Twitch streamer. That's what really mattered, and he was still gaining new followers in almost every stream. However, 8 months later, in October 2021, Myth's average viewers per stream had now fallen to 3,000, the lowest since the early days of Fortnite, almost 4 years ago. Despite a consistent decrease in average viewers, Myth would still have the occasional huge stream. One day he could be streaming to 2,600 max viewers, the next day 105,000. It's safe to say his viewership was very sporadic at this time. Things weren't exactly looking promising, with Myth having a wildly inconsistent audience, heavily varied content, and a stream that would continue to stagnate for the following months. It would seem that Myth was slowly falling to obscurity and wouldn't be making any headlines anytime soon. But that was until July 2022, when Myth would make a decision that would drastically change the future of his career as a streamer, signing a deal with YouTube that would see him streaming exclusively on their platform with YouTube Gaming, thus abandoning his Twitch channel. Myth had made arguably the most important decision a big streamer will ever make in regards to their career: stay on Twitch or sign to a competitor on a lucrative exclusivity deal, and Myth had chosen YouTube Gaming over Twitch. His announcement would generate massive buzz on Twitter, with over 120,000 likes on his announcement tweet. News of the announcement would make its way to Reddit, and viewers were quick to give their opinions. Good move for him, chance at a fresh start as his viewership has stagnated. Even if it doesn't work out, still gets a large amount of money. Bag secured. I remember him saying in offline chats that streaming isn't for him anymore. It's interesting to see YouTube signing Myth. His stream is not what it used to be numbers wise. He went from 7 to 8k average viewers to 3k in the last months. Seemed like his Twitch career was dying, so good move. Myth is a much bigger brand name than his actual views. He averages around 3k the last 3 months on Twitch, so Twitch has no reason to pay him big for exclusivity when there are thousands of streamers who bring more people to the platform. And for YouTube, he's a brand name people like / know, even if they don't watch him. Win-win for everyone. Despite Myth's consistent decline in viewership and followers on his various social medias, he had managed to secure the bag yet again. Whilst I can't find exactly how much this deal was worth, it's common knowledge in the industry how lucrative these exclusive streamer deals are, and it was very likely that Myth was walking away with his pockets multiple millions of dollars, if not tens of millions of dollars heavier after signing with YouTube. But whilst the money was going to be huge, there's always a catch, and it was no secret that moving from Twitch to YouTube Gaming was a challenge. Despite its many flaws, Twitch was undeniably the home of live streaming, and around this time boasted a 75.6% of all livestream viewership online. Twitch's live viewers dwarfed that of YouTube Gaming's. So naturally, when big Twitch streamers would move from Twitch to YouTube, they would often see a considerable dip in viewers, and well, as you would expect, that happened. After an initial spark of interest, Myth would quickly fall from the spotlight, and less than a month after signing to YouTube, he would upload a video titled, "This is why I fell off," detailing the downfall of his career from his own perspective.
And I wanted to talk about what happened to my career. This is like a question that I get a lot. It's like, yo, what happened, Myth? Why do you have this many viewers at this point versus this point? What is going on?
This is the Fortnite era. This is our peak. We come down. Genuinely, I think the main contributors to this were me not being able to keep up, hold that position as being the Fortnite guy and being like successful and competitive. As you guys know, like I got a pretty laughable competitive history in Fortnite. I didn't do well. And there are a lot of things that have to do with that. You know, one of them being I was young, man. I was 18 when all this was going on. I was super young, 18 or 19. And I was arrogant, you know, I got cocky, I had all this success, and I was like, I'm the man, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing it my way. But when that happens, if you're in a position where like, you're just an arrogant ass teenager and you're getting all this success, it's gonna be easy for that success to slip out of your hands, I feel like, if you're not genuinely looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, hey, how could I improve? Who should I be listening to? How could I get help to keep this going? And that's kind of who I was. That's like a personality flaw in me though. I never wanted help. I never wanted to have to rely on somebody else for the answers. I genuinely think if I was a little bit less arrogant, was more accepting to help, I probably would have not had this decline that we see here throughout, you know, August, September into early 2019. But with that being the case, we had a decline in viewership. It happened. I had a really rough time dealing with, you know, the public words and public perspective, and being someone in this industry, you know, at the caliber that I was, there's a lot of people that have their opinions, and as much as you try to not let it get to you, it got to me, man. There are a lot of moments where I would be sitting, staring at the go live button, and I would just cry. I would really break down because I knew that right as soon as I go live, I was gonna get shit on. I was gonna be told to myself. I was going to be told that I'm worthless and that I should quit. I'm still greatly appreciative to the success that I had and the success that I still have. Without my past, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. And I genuinely think going through the highs and the lows genuinely made me a better person at the end of the day. Having everything and then getting it taken away from you, or not taken away from you, but like you losing it at your own hand is such a humbling experience. And I am kind of happy that it happened. That was our past, but now we're here and I'm done looking at the past. Moving over to YouTube is something that happened recently. That entire transition for me honestly feels like I'm hitting a reset button. I've had all this success and everything, but now I get to really work from the ground up and rebuild the community that I feel like I never got the opportunity to build. A lot of the people that watch me for Fortnite, and maybe you're someone that was there in the past, watch me because I was the Fortnite guy. I was crazy, I was cracked at the game or whatever. But a lot of people then didn't necessarily watch me for who I was or were there long enough to learn about who I was.
Viewers were quick to show their support and appreciation for Myth in the comments of this video. This is a really mature video. I can't imagine how painful it would be to do an introspective like this. Hope you have a great success in the future. Maybe things weren't so bad after all, and well, Myth had achieved most creators' dreams. With his spell as one of the biggest streamers in the world and his lucrative YouTube deal, Myth could stream without the pressure of money playing on his mind constantly. He could do whatever he wanted with his content, which leads us to December 2022, when Myth would have his debut as an influencer boxer, taking part in Ludwig's highly anticipated Mogul Chess Boxing Championship. The event was held in front of a live audience of 10,000 fans, with more than 500,000 people watching at home. The stakes were high, and with past memories of Las Vegas 2018, with viewers claiming Myth couldn't take the pressure, he had a lot to prove. And well, he was brilliant. Myth would defeat his opponent, and viewers were heaping praise towards him. Great fight, Myth was a beast. Myth was an absolute tank. I was proud of Myth and I hope he continues his boxing career. Perhaps boxing was the new way forward for Myth. After all, there's huge money and viewership in the business, and judging from his debut, Myth looked like he could be one of the best influencer boxers around if he put the work in. Eventually he would return home and react to his boxing match in a video that would vastly outperform his other content. But then the dust would settle, and it was back to gaming. Or was it? On March 9th, 2023, Myth would upload a much different video than usual, titled, "I Figured It Out," where he would express his desire to take his content in a new direction moving forward.
For a long time, I didn't know what type of content I wanted to make after Fortnite and after Valorant. I want to move to do something that makes me a little bit more happy. I've come to the conclusion that I want to help the future creators of the world have the knowledge that I have. Throughout the next few months or so, you guys will start seeing some content uploaded to the channel that just me sitting down, dissecting and going over certain topics that will help you in your journey as a creator.
The video following this lived up to Myth's statements of intent for change, and instead of his usual gaming content, it was much more serious and mature, where Myth would sit down and talk to the camera for 10 minutes, giving tips on what he feels upcoming creators need to succeed in the current landscape of content creation. It would seem Myth was about to head down an entirely new path of his content, but that wasn't the case. Following his advice video, Myth would revert back to his old ways, and continue to post more gaming highlights and vlogs. Viewership remained sporadic. One video would hit 100k views, the next would barely break 10k. But that wouldn't stop Myth, and he would continue to upload and stream frequently. However, despite his consistency, his views continued to fall further and further, and his YouTube channel wouldn't see a single month of growth since streaming full-time on the platform for over a year. In fact, he was often losing tens of thousands of subscribers. Which brings us to October 2023, where Myth's viewership would reach all-time lows. By this point, Myth's YouTube uploads were struggling to reach even 5,000 views. Numbers perhaps hard to fathom, considering Myth had 4.4 million subscribers and used to average over 1 million views per video. But surely his streams were doing better, right? Well, not exactly. By this point, Myth could often be seen streaming to an audience of under 100 people, with his chat essentially at a standstill and restricted to members only. Things had changed. A lot. Sure, YouTube had a smaller audience of live viewers than Twitch, so lower views were to be expected, but this was a far fall from the 3,000 viewers Myth was averaging before leaving Twitch. At this point, old viewers of Myth may have stumbled across his channel, seeing him live to under 100 viewers, and wondered, what happened? 5 years ago, Myth was the second biggest streamer in the world, the leader of the TSM Fortnite team, gaining hundreds of thousands of followers per month on Twitch, and at one point could be seen streaming to 165,000 live viewers. How could Myth go from such heights to streaming to such a small amount of people? It seemed Myth had checked out of the streaming game. He was playing what he wanted, and clearly wasn't optimizing his stream for growth. Surely, it was only a matter of time before Myth's viewership would fall to 0. Well, that certainly wasn't the case, as on October 27th, Fortnite would make a huge announcement, revealing that the game would be going back to its original roots, rolling back the clock to 2018, with the release of Fortnite OG, scheduled for the 3rd of November. And Myth was ready for the nostalgia hit, and on release day, would stream the game to his audience. And of course, with Myth being one of the most iconic players of the early days of Fortnite, Myth's viewership would skyrocket, and he could be seen streaming to at least 3,000 live viewers, with his chat opened back up to the general audience. Alongside this, Myth's first upload on Fortnite OG would quickly amass over 400,000 views, and his channel would finally see positive growth, with him gaining over 20,000 subscribers in just 2 weeks. But Myth didn't indulge himself in the numbers, and whilst he could have dedicated himself to Fortnite OG and continued inflating his audience, Myth would quickly push the game aside and play the new Call of Duty release on stream, and his viewership would quickly come falling down once again. And it would seem Myth's growth would be short-lived, and he was happy to go back to playing a variety of games that he enjoys, even if it meant his viewership would likely suffer. But even if Myth's viewers were to fall to 0 in the coming months, it's important to remember this. Objectively, Myth is one of the greatest streamers of all time. In all of streaming history, there's very few people who have ever streamed to the size of audiences that Myth has, or generated the amount of wealth that he has in this industry. From riding the unprecedented hype train of Fortnite, Myth was always going to be fighting an uphill battle, maintaining his success. After all, where else is there to go when you're this far at the top? And while Myth could have played it safe and continued to play Fortnite for the rest of his streaming career, holding a more consistent audience, he stayed true to himself and his aspirations of being a variety streamer despite the risks. Whilst I'm sure there may be times when Myth finds himself looking over to his second monitor, looking at the number of viewers watching, wondering how things changed so dramatically from those years ago, at the end of the day, I'm sure Myth laughs it off, sits back, and remembers just how much he's achieved, and then reminds himself that even if his viewers were to fall to 0, he'd still be one of the highest paid streamers in the world thanks to his YouTube contract. Myth came, he saw, he conquered, and he secured the bag.
I had a lot of great times with this game, but man, I had a lot of dark times when it came to being in this industry and playing this game, bro, that I just don't even like thinking about. Really makes me f***ing sad, bro. And like the main thing is like sometimes I get mad about it because I'm like, damn, bro, what should have been the greatest time of my life is unfortunately clouded with these dark memories. Like this real depression that I had over this game. And the only reality of it is, you know, I just had to be stronger as a young dude, you know, because the world isn't going to get softer for you. But obviously, that's an unfair thing to ask an 18-year-old, you know. But there's a lot of learning, and I've learned a lot of great life lessons through this game. And I'm grateful for every trial and tribulation that I've gone through. Wouldn't change anything if I had to go back. Just telling you guys that, like, made my f***ing chest heavy. It's just memories, that's all. I'm in a great place right now. I'm glad I got to express that to you guys right now, because I don't think I've ever had an opportunity to express that the way that I've wanted to before. I don't wish for anything to be different. Unless we get at hiding your emotions because as fans, we never knew. I mean, listen, back then, I don't think anybody would have cared. That's the truth. That's what I told myself. Because at the end of the day, I was here. This is where I was. What mattered back then was winning. That was it. Was being the best. And right as soon as I wasn't the absolute best, or arguably the best, it switched up. So then imagine if I would have came out and started talking about my emotions while people are already dogging me. Nah, bro. That's just, you're asking to get kicked while you're down, I think. So like I said, I wouldn't change anything. Because you want to know what means a lot more to me? You know, it's so full circle, man. I don't even know how many people we got watching right now, but I think it means a lot more telling it to you guys that are here right now, whatever amount of people that is, than it would have been to tell 20, 30,000 people that. Because now I know you guys are really listening. So God bless y'all, man. Thank you for being here.
I think tonight the one guy everybody's been waiting to see play is TSM Myth over here. Can I hear it in the house? How many of you guys are here waiting for Myth to do some domination tonight?
Do we have any Myth fans in the house?
Let's go, baby! Let's go!
Nice. Okay.
Yeah!
Okay. GG, bro. Oh, you had me there. I choked my shot.
He kept building up and building up and building up, and I couldn't catch him.
No! What?